Good morning, Hatters. It is Tuesday again. Today is the 9th. I have Will with me, Mr. Flowers, and Malcolm. We're going to jump right into stuff with our segments. Then we'll do an intro for our guest, talk about some stuff. We have a lot of cool segments for the second half as well. But yeah, for starters, Malcolm, how's your day going?
Pretty good. How about yourself, dude?
Pretty good. Pretty good. It is Tuesday morning at 8 a.m., so as good as it could be.
Early start, to say the least, but
Yeah. So quick little discussion. Like, why are we doing this podcast? Like, me and you.
so it's for a journalism workshop, and it just started. Something that just happened this year. Lewisburg College just introduced it to the registrar and classes, where you can take classes in terms of getting credit for. Can you help me out here?
Yeah.
I know
Journalism.
Journalism. Thank you.
Yeah, that's the word. Journalism. Yeah.
Journalism for so like there.
I'm telling you guys, it's early. Too early for us.
I believe that Mr. K is doing something else in terms of like a podcast and then something else.
Yeah. So other journalism students are doing some other cool projects and whatnot.
Yeah.
We actually have some of those planned for guests as well. So
Cool.
A lot of cool crossovers coming up.
Awesome.
But yeah, no, we're happy to be doing the podcast.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that it'll come together pretty smoothly for the rest of the semester as well. We're gonna jump right into sports.
All right.
If you want to talk about what we did last week.
So we have last week we had Wednesday the 3rd of September was men's soccer at North Carolina Wesleyan JV. Excuse me, home.
Oh, it was
It was a home game,
Okay.
and it was a scrimmage, but
Okay. Yeah.
we won 11-0.
I hope some of y'all went out and supported the team.
I was there taking pictures.
Nice.
It was yeah. So it was 11.
Were you able to go, Mr. Powers?
No, not for this one. But I'll definitely. I think I'm attending 2 or 3 games.
Oh, very
this
cool.
week. At the day of this recording, I'll be at the volleyball game at 6, and then this Saturday I'll be at the home football game.
Perfect.
Yeah. So dive right into that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we do have a. So this week we have a 9th. The 9th is 2 p.m. men's soccer.
The one that you're going to.
Carolina University.
Yes,
Yep.
And that's a home game?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yep. And then 6 p.m. like he mentioned, was the
On Saturday.
Yep.
Perfect.
No Tuesday.
Today.
Tuesday. Today.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So 6 p.m. women's volleyball versus Pittsburgh Community College. I
Okay.
can't speak.
Was there another one this week or anything?
Yeah. Yeah. So Thursday the 11th is 6 p.m. men's soccer. University of Mount Olive JV. I didn't realize they even had a team.
That is interesting.
I didn't know where Mount Olive is. I
Yeah.
ran a race over there, but I'm not sure where.
It's closer to. I've driven through Mount Olive a couple times from the beach, and so it's not near New Bern, but it's more
Okay.
closer to the eastern side.
I
of
got
the
you.
state.
Okay.
So a little bit of a track.
A little bit.
All right. And then the 13th, we have women's volleyball at 11 o'clock versus Virginia Peninsula Community College. Same day, we have 11 a.m. football versus Hudson Valley Community College.
Okay.
And then the same day, so volleyball I think has 2 matches. They have the 11 o'clock that I just mentioned, and versus Peninsula, and they have Forsyth Technical Community College at 3 p.m. So 2 games for volleyball. That's what I got for y'all.
Yeah, no, that's great. We're just gonna do a quick segment with weather again. It's been kind of yucky past week though.
I agree.
Yeah. It's getting colder. Last week we had high 80s. This week we're looking at the average of about 75 though. It's a little bit colder. Percent of range though is really low except for Saturday, so hopefully we don't get rained out for the teams and stuff.
Yeah, the weather's been kind of the past couple of days have been great, but just yesterday I was up running, and oh man, it was just the weather in general was fine. The sun was not it.
Not it. Yeah.
But
Yeah, not a lot of rain. It's gonna be looking pretty good for the next week. This week though is Chef Appreciation Week in the cafeteria. So we have a regular Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday kind of stuff. So today is Taco Tuesday, delicious as always.
Yep.
Wednesday is the light lunch cafeteria food. So make sure you grab some sandwiches or some salad from the bar. Obviously, there will be some stuff like the soups, the spaghetti, and stuff that they have. But yeah, they also have the cereal, stuff like that. So the breakfast bar is gonna be open as well.
Yep.
Thursday is gonna be fried chicken Thursday. I know all y'all love that anyways. And then Friday is Fish Friday as always.
Okay.
Yep. But yeah, make sure you give some love and appreciation to our chefs and faculty over there in the cafeteria.
All of them do a great job.
Yep. Why don't we introduce our guest, Mr. Flowers? Why don't you give a little spiel of why you're here?
Well, I was asked to. Yeah, I'm just kind of here. I know you guys are doing this to kind of get started, and you guys had asked me to come on and talk about a few things, history of general stuff, and history of maybe things more specific we'll get into.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Yeah.
So before we jump into the history of mental health and whatnot,
Mm-hmm.
you're a history teacher. What is your favorite moment in history?
There's not really well. I've been asked this in different forms before. I've had a few students over the few years where they'll ask me, if you could go back in time, where would you want to go? Nowhere, because I like where I live currently.
That's right.
The disease is something that's
Oh,
more
yeah.
treatable nowadays
Yeah,
than it would
you.
be in the 1800s or 1900s. But for those who have taken my American history classes, when I was in grad school, I focused a lot on the Civil War and Reconstruction area, and I tried to apply that passion of mine to students and show them that the memory of that time is everywhere around you. You see it in placards across the street at school, where monuments used to stand. You even see it in, there's a lot of athletes here on campus. I, press on them. Some of your favorite sports teams are mascots that I named after the Civil War era. Louisiana State Tigers, Mississippi Rebels, New York Yankees, North Carolina Tar Heels. They're all, callbacks to that time in our nation's history.
And just to throw out there, I'm a huge NHL guy.
Mm-hmm.
Columbus Blue Jackets. You see the cannon, their cannon during goal scoring. Yeah, that's the same thing. Columbus Blue Jackets.
Yeah. So jumping right in now, kind of go over the topics of mental health and history.
Yeah. So kind of instead of jumping immediately into the past, really kind of looking into the current day of mental illness. According to the National Institute of Mental Health, I believe they've said 1 in 5 adults nowadays are diagnosed with mental illness. And when we think of mental illness, it doesn't have to be something that is, off the walls. When you think of maybe schizophrenia or bipolar disease, mental illness can range from, things that we might not even think are considered, ADHD, autism, things that might, have people challenge and struggle, especially in a classroom environment, things that they might need extra accommodations for. And it's not to make it a stigma or anything. This is just something that a lot of people deal with in everyday life. And some people might not even know it nowadays. And I think really if you don't know it, it's really best for you to kind of, maybe ask a doctor and have them run some tests, because they'll be the best ones to kind of tell you if you feel like something's wrong, they should be able to help you out.
Yeah, that's great. Nowadays, it's definitely an issue that we have a lot more resources going into it. Obviously, people have been struggling with mental health for years.
Like, and that's.
It's been a thing for as long as people have been a thing.
and that's always something else that has always been a misconception or a myth about mental illness. Especially maybe people who are the older generations will say, well, they might criticize people for having mental illnesses now because they feel like it's a fad or this is like some new trend. But, when you look at it, the numbers are higher nowadays because people are more comfortable getting diagnoses compared to back, even in the 1970s, 1960s. There's less of a stigma. There is obviously still stigma, but there's less of a stigma now than it had been prior. If you had come out in the 1900s or the late 1800s, and you said you had to deal with some kind of ADHD or bipolar disease, that was really, unfortunately, a one-way ticket to being sent to a asylum for treatment. And in most cases, with the exception of Dorothea Dix's asylum, which we'll talk about in a minute, most of them would uh, give harsh punishments and severe beatings to a lot of the patients as a way to quote unquote cure them of these kind of things. And it took years for people to try to reform those ideas.
Wow.
That's deep.
Yeah. Woo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So you were just mentioning Dorothea Dix Park.
Yes, Dorothea Dix Park is actually named after, well, she's not, one of the other things too, Dorothea Dix is actually from technically Maine, but when she was born in Maine in 1802, Maine was still part of Massachusetts. And that's always something I always
That is right.
tell my students, the two states at one point were one state. But Dorothea Dix was born in 1802 in Massachusetts. In the 1840s, when she was a grown woman, she was becoming an advocate for mental illness because she saw what was happening in asylums with severe beatings and the trauma that comes with that. And she decided to essentially fundraise and create her own asylum that would sit in what is now Raleigh, North Carolina, Dorothea Dix Park. Dorothea Dix Park is named after her. There are remnants of the original asylum still there.
Okay.
I believe you can walk around. I don't know if you can go inside, but you can walk around the grounds.
Okay.
And
I have heard that.
yes. And one of the other things too, and this kind of ties in with Dorothea Dix when I tell my students, history is never black and white. There's always a lot of gray when it comes to historical figures and historical events. There's no really purely good person, nor is there a purely evil person. There might be a couple exceptions to that depending on how you're looking at it.
Most certainly.
But with Dorothea Dix, she's definitely in that ballpark of that gray, ominous way of life. She is a devout Protestant Christian. After she creates Dorothea Dix, it really is only applicable to Protestant men. There's not a whole lot of research that she does on minorities when it comes to mental illness. Eventually, during the Civil War, she does become a Union Army nurse, but there are many reports where she refuses to work with Catholic nurses.
Wow.
And so it's always a mixed bag with historical figures. People do very good things, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're always personally good people. And that doesn't mean we have to criticize them nowadays. It's really just kind of looking at them for how they were in that time and trying to not judge, but to understand why they were feeling that way.
Yeah. No, that's
It's a great call.
yeah. No, I'm really glad that she was willing to do that.
Yeah. And, and this is the way that mental illness has kind of evolved over time. It takes decades and decades, if not centuries,
Yeah.
for people to lessen back on stigmas and kind of be more open and free about how they're feeling and things of that nature. One of the big things, too, that since I'm a Civil War Reconstruction thing, one of the mental illnesses that I constantly see in my research is post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD.
Oh,
Yeah.
And that's not a legitimate diagnosis until 1978, years after the Vietnam War has ended.
Oh wow.
And people had so many people. We were just talking about this in Dr. McNee's American Lit 2 course,
Oh okay.
and PTSD was not a thing up until what you said. Like,
Yeah.
people would have these, even World War One, World War Two, all this stuff happened, and soldiers would come back from their homes and not open up and just be like depressed
Yeah.
and having
And
no
it
idea.
wasn't diagnosed.
And
no
one
one
of
knows
them,
what was
like they had no idea, and
Yeah.
they showed
Well,
the work.
it
They
used
get
to be
going.
called like some other things before.
Yeah, so during the Civil War, they called it soldier's heart. World War One, it was known as shell shock. World War Two, the 1,000-yard stare. Kind of people just kind of looking into nothing, having those kind of almost what we would think of like flashbacks
Yeah.
of combat and trauma. And especially during the Civil War, there wasn't a whole lot of, there's never a cure for PTSD, but there wasn't any way that people were trying to make it better for the soldiers. Most doctors would usually diagnose them with soldier's heart, basically just calling them depressed. And rather than therapy or talking about these feelings or some form of legitimate medication that we would think of nowadays, Back then, it would basically be them given prescriptions for alcohol or opium or some form of narcotic. Yeah, and that creates a whole new problem
Yeah.
rather than
But
veterans.
all those things are depressants anyway.
Yeah,
so-
they are depressants, but
Yeah.
then you have this surge in opioid addiction, alcoholism that leads, unfortunately, for many soldiers to commit suicide. And these are issues that soldiers still are facing today, even with the better resources and the better care. It is still something that people struggle with.
Yeah.
It's not a joke. It still happens to this
Yeah,
day.
it still happens.
Yeah, no, mental health is no joke. It's scary stuff. You can ruin your life. It can do a lot of things. So more into like the history of mental health and like the world wars, like the history with soldiers and stuff. When did like we start focusing on that?
Not really until recently, I would say. Probably that, like I said, the name of PTSD changes over time, and it's not really until the 50s and 60s where you have scientists starting to put together not experiments, but like focus groups and research studies on what happens to people during this time, especially during after the Second World War, and as Korea is happening in the early 1950s, you start to see a change in how people are looking at it. People are understanding a little bit more than what they had before. Like I said, in the Civil War era, it probably just would have been brushed off, and they are given narcotics or alcohol to kind of numb the pain. And nowadays, it's evolved into giving medications, allowing them for counseling or some form of therapy. But like I said, all of that doesn't really kick off until after the Vietnam War is over, because if anyone,
it's a very recent thing.
It's incredibly recent, and I think it's just because you had so many soldiers coming back from Vietnam, which was a war that we lost, we didn't win, and so people are veterans especially are asking themselves, what was the point of going over there? Why did we fight in the first place? And that really puts people down into like a dark rabbit hole of depression and despair. And so that makes people think a little bit more about what goes on with soldiers after they come back, because when you go into boot camp and you are training to go into combat, you're only told your duty is 2 or 3 very specific things, and then when you come home, those don't apply to you anymore. You can't do that in the civilian world, and
you
so
don't have that structure.
you don't have that structure. It's all just kind of gone like a snap of a finger, and a lot of people don't know how to build up from that. I tell this in my classes when we talk about the end of World War II. Your average World War II soldier was somewhere between 17 and 18 years old, fresh out of high school.
I remember you mentioned that when
They-
you taught me.
They spend 3 or 4 years in the service. They come out of combat at 21 years old, and all they've known is K through 12 education and then war. And
That's so sad.
and after that, it's like, okay, what's next?
What they
do you
lived, the mortality rate back then was a lot more.
And the thing about wars, right, is even if you win, you don't truly win. There's always casualties.
Sure.
And I mean, one person is victorious, one side is victorious, one side is not.
Yeah.
But wars should be avoidable, but
And that's one of the things too that's also kind of paired with mental illness. You kind of touched on it, survivor's guilt. When you have friends who don't come home and you do, that also kind of puts you into this PTSD structure where you're asking yourself, how come I came home and my friends didn't?
just like a ball.
Yeah, that will throw down into a spiral, and that causes mental illness as well. Whether it's addiction or alcoholism or something of that nature.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, going back to like the wars and stuff, it's no joke. One of my favorite anonymous quotes. Unfortunately, we don't have a person for it. The only war you win is the one you don't fight.
Yep.
Yeah. I love that.
That's a good one.
I should know where that's from, but I don't.
Yeah. No. From my understanding, it's just an anonymous quote from some point in history.
Interesting.
That's usually how it goes. Every now and then I'll find a quote and it's like, oh man, this is really good. I should put this in somewhere. Who wrote this? And I'll look at it. It's anonymous. Like, all right.
Yeah. It feels so bad sometimes having to put in like a document or like a research paper or something of like, oh, here's this quote.
It's an amazing quote.
And LA, it's anonymous.
And that's one of the things. When I was in grad school, every time I would, say something in an argument in a paragraph, I would always get in the headlines, where's your source? Like, how are you proving the statement? And, you can't have quotes that are anonymous. You gotta find people
Yeah.
who actually said it or were recorded
Right.
to say it. So, it is very difficult when you find that really good one and it says anonymous.
Yeah.
Sun Tzu, yes.
Sun Tzu. Oh yes, he has a lot of great quotes about war.
Oh yeah.
Thanks to our
Yeah, behind the scenes, we have
Behind the
AJ,
scenes.
which will be joining us for the second half as
yeah,
well.
that was the
That was
call.
very helpful.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. What was it that Sun Tzu? Where it was
Art of War.
Art of War. That's
Yes.
and that was a couple hundred years ago.
Probably a few thousand years ago.
Really?
Actually.
Wow.
Sun Tzu was a military tactician from one of the old, I can't remember which one because world history is not really my expertise, but definitely in
Forte.
in the ancient Chinese empires.
Okay.
In one of those times. And he basically wrote the book that people today, at West Point, Art of War is usually one of those books that kind of people still call back to
Yeah.
when discussing strategy and things of that nature.
Yeah. So to quickly touch on stuff, mister
Mhm.
History Professor, because we've been talking a lot about war and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Briefly touch on like some main points in history of like how like armies have evolved. Because I mean, you think about even
That's a good
recently, like past 100 years is way different.
Yeah, so for American history at least, when the revolution kicks off, we don't have a standard army. We don't even have a navy. I think our navy, when the war started against the British, was maybe a couple dozen ships versus a few hundred that the British had on standby.
Yeah.
So we didn't have a whole lot. We eventually the army was formed during the revolution, along with other branches of the military, like the Navy and the Marines. But really, what people relied on in those first few years was volunteer soldiers, militia, people
That's right.
who would be called up from local communities to defend areas of their home, because for them it was defending their home rather than at first defending the flag.
Yeah.
And as the United States evolves, there becomes a legitimate military. We eventually do get an official military, and the militias still exist. They're just not called militias anymore. They're called the National Guard, which is essentially operating as the same structure. Communities who are, once a national catastrophe or something is called upon, the governor will say, you need to roll out and help the community. And that's kind of how militias are structured today. The military, definitely is a lot different than what it was 250 years ago. And, for the better. There's definitely a lot more structured. There's more, there's better leadership than probably how it started. Although you can't really compete against George Washington in some cases.
Yep.
So
we're 47 presidents now.
we are at 47. We
Yeah.
are currently at 47. And since I was mentioning the 250th, this is something that maybe Lewisburg can do in the future. 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence is coming up.
Ooh.
Is coming up next year.
Yeah.
Wow.
Franklin County was formed during the American Revolution and is named after Benjamin Franklin. So
Didn't know that.
yeah,
Wow.
so we are hopefully, maybe the county will do something to kind of commemorate
Yeah, that would be
in the
super
next couple
cool.
of years.
Yeah, I'll have to get someone special on the podcast for that.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna go on an intermission in just a minute. We're gonna do a brief message from our sponsor though. So today we have Sunrise Biscuit Kitchen, just as last week. Amazing food. All of us had biscuits today. They're right in Lewisburg at 208 South Main on Bickett Boulevard, which is also 401 and like a million other roads convenient to it. But yeah, they have a whole bunch of different foods. Surprisingly enough, they're not just about breakfast. So you can get your burgers, hot dogs, everything else there. But for me personally, I love their cinnamon rolls. They're ooey gooey goodness, freshly made every single day, and just fantastic overall. But yeah, we're gonna go on to intermission, and we'll see you guys in a few minutes. Alrighty, guys, we are back for our next segment. We switched our co-hosts as always. We have AJ. How are you doing today?
I am doing great. Really tired, but those biscuits.
They were good.
Those biscuits.
Yeah. We actually obviously have a new set. I didn't mention it before, so you guys have noticed. For those just listening in, we completely changed where we were, and we completely built up a new set from last night at like 8 o'clock. So, literally within the past 12 hours, we created a whole new studio.
If I had a nickel,
It would happen.
I'd have too many nickels.
I think we would only have two, which isn't a lot.
It's still a lot for
It's weird that it happened twice.
You can't buy anything with 2 nickels.
Not
The
anymore.
economy is not in great
Well,
shape.
if you look hard enough, you can get a pencil.
You can get a pencil.
Pencil. That's good.
You know those like book drive things at schools?
Oh yeah, Scholastic Book Fair.
Yeah,
is still
Scholastic
my
Book
favorite
Fairs and stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
Whenever my
that's
kids
it.
have them at school, I show up at like 7:30. I'm like, let's go.
Make sure you get all the cool stuff first. Yep. But yeah, AJ, we didn't touch really on like why you're here. Why are you involved with the podcast, anyways?
Oh, why am I here? Well, the story is fun and very short. I
bet
go
you.
bowling one day, okay, and I'm having the time of my life. And then I find some guys who are also bowling, and come to chance, I befriend one of them, and then he out of the blue decides to ask me, "Hey, you're funny. Would you like to be on my podcast?"
Yeah, that was 6 months ago. And,
Just about, yeah.
yeah.
And now we're just getting into it, having
Yeah.
a great time. I'm extremely tired, but I'm looking good, feeling good, having fun, meeting
Very
our
good, yeah.
fantastic guests.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna go into guest intro now. Reverend Wittman,
Hi.
how are you doing this morning?
I'm good. How are y'all?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Good.
What do you do here at school?
I don't know. I just drive here every morning from Rocky Mount. Just kind of show up on camp. No, I'm kidding. They haven't kicked me off yet. No, I'm the chaplain. And so I lead worship on Tuesdays at 11 o'clock, wink, wink. And then also I teach Old Testament and New Testament, also in the chapel. I spend a lot of time in the chapel.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Why don't we jump right in? What are we talking about today? I know we have some cool talking points and stuff. I know that you have a thing going on this Wednesday, right?
Yeah. So the chapel and the counseling center together, so myself and Miss Tony Kirchis are doing a program for suicide prevention and awareness.
Mhm.
That'll be at 7 o'clock on Wednesday night. One of the reasons we do this, Wednesday is National Suicide Awareness and Prevention Day. But we feel like it's really important to talk about suicide as a way of destigmatizing conversation around suicide and also just giving people space to be honest and to talk about what they're dealing with and what they're going through. I've done a lot of suicide prevention training, as has Ms. Tony, of course. And one of the things that we talk about in suicide prevention training and awareness is that breaking the stigma and having open conversations and just being honest and giving people space to talk. So in our service, there's going to be a lot of prayer, a lot of scripture, but also we're going to have oil for anointing and healing if anybody wants that. It's not required, but we'll also have candle lighting and things like that. So Ms. Tony is going to give some information and talk about statistics and data around suicide awareness and prevention and just ways that we can, as a campus, support one another and be there for each other in the midst of all of that. And to remind people too that you have 2 confidential resources on campus,
Yep.
and that's Ms. Tony and myself. So if there's ever a place you need to go and just talk and have some open and honest conversation without judgment, not that anybody on campus is judging you, but specifically without judgment, without sharing anything beyond the walls within reason, unless there's harm involved. But Ms. Tony and I are definitely the people.
You
that
won't help
can
us
talk to.
bury a body, unfortunately.
No, but I can tell you there are a lot of hog farms in eastern North Carolina. Wink, wink. I'm just kidding. I'm not kidding. There are, but don't hide bodies.
Yeah, not good.
Come talk to me. I don't want to go to jail. So
So this is Wednesday, what time?
this is Wednesday at 7 o'clock.
All right.
in the
So
chapel.
Yep. So we're gonna bury some bodies.
We're not.
7 o'clock. No.
I don't look good in orange.
7 o'clock in the chapel. Then the suicide awareness. What is the name?
Suicide prevention and awareness service. So,
Service.
yeah.
All right. Yeah. So be there. Why don't we talk a little bit more about mental health in general? So you are a confidential resource. What is your experience with like helping people out with mental health?
So really my experience is a little bit different when it comes to some more serious counseling needs and things like that. Miss Tony is really your resource, but I'm there for more of a faith perspective and background. So if you're wrestling with issues that might involve your faith journey, or you're questioning where God fits into your story, or also if you just need a place to talk, that's really what I do. I tend to, if there's a problem that goes beyond 3 or 4 sessions, I tend to refer students to somebody else who might be able to help them more professionally than I can. As a chaplain, I'm sort of filling the faith role. But I am there. My door, if I'm in the office, is always open, unless I'm in Miss Tony's office across student life, which I'm there a lot, and that's usually where people find me if I'm not in my space. But Miss Tony as well is an excellent resource on campus. Both of us are here to talk about mental health. Sometimes we get together and we work through things together as well. If there's a student who needs a little bit of extra help, I'll refer students to Miss Tony. Miss Tony refers students to me as well if she feels like some faith or some scripture might be helpful in the mix. But we sort of tag team a lot of stuff as well.
Very cool. Why don't we talk a little bit about your D&D on campus? Because I know that you're a big fan of it.
Well, ain't that a segue?
Speaking of mental health.
Yeah, D&D.
Roll your initiative.
Oh, she's already on topic.
Yep.
It'll be good.
Yep. So, D&D, what is it to begin with?
First of all, it means disciples in disciples, and that's what it means. Discipleship is disciples. No, it means Dungeons and Dragons. It's a tabletop role-playing game. If you haven't played it, you've probably at least heard of it or seen it on Stranger Things, if nothing else. But D&D is a lot of fun. To me, one of the reasons I love it is that it's a great way to sort of be imaginative, to tell stories, to work together. It's a cooperative game, as you know. So you're not playing against other people unless you have a really bad dungeon master who's trying to hurt you along the story. And if you don't know, a DM is the person who's running the story and sort of helping the campaign move along. I feel weird explaining that to you both because I know you know that.
We know that, but yeah.
But for everyone else, that's really what it is. But it's a cooperative way of going through story together and going through conflict together, and you get to use cool dice. And I just got some new dice yesterday, and I forgot to bring them with me. But they're purple and blue.
I'll just
and
stop by
sparkly.
and get them later.
They're really pretty.
We need a dice segment one time.
We need a dice segment? Alright, we're gonna have to do that, yeah.
That would be like coming to Reverend Wittman's office and seeing my dragon hoard of dice, and
Yeah, I have hundreds and hundreds. Like, it's kind of an issue.
Yeah, we should not enable each other in these ways. Speaking of mental health, if you have a problem with hoarding dice, please come to me. I'll hold on to them for you.
Yep. Speaking of D&D and other role-playing games and stuff, we're gonna play a short-lived game ourselves, which is a great segue. Behind the scenes, can you grab that little box right there?
Ooh.
Right there. Perfect.
The suspense.
Thank you, Malcolm.
You need like some music. Insert suspenseful music.
Yeah.
Remind me to get a suspense button. That just
Suspense
says
button.
suspense.
Ooh,
That would be excellent.
I
we
like
do
that.
need that. So what we're gonna be doing is we have Cards Against Humanity, Children's Edition.
Yeah, I don't
So
wanna
we're
get
good. You don't want to get fired. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab a few cards. One of us is gonna start the story off with kind of what is going on with it, and
Okay.
then we're gonna go around in a circle and just add on like one of our cards of like storytelling aspect.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is an improv game, so try to run through it with a yes and principle.
Gotcha. Okay.
And we'll see how horribly wrong this is.
This is gonna go bad.
Everyone's gonna see just how neurodivergent the chapel is.
Yes. And that
ADHD
might be a
is
good thing.
That's great.
Now, just to the viewers watching, there actually was a point to this segue. We were talking.
Promise, there's a reason.
We promise. We were talking about D&D, and this is just a showcase of how easy it can be to get into role playing.
How many cards
So-
did I take? Is there a rule to this?
No.
Or is it just however many the spirit gives me? Okay. Am I looking at my cards?
Spirit has given me a hand.
You guys
Very
can,
specific
but I'm a
amount.
gambling man, so I'm just gonna
Okay.
not even look.
All right. I'll
Alright.
follow your lead.
All right, let's see where this starts off.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Do we have a theme? Do we want to go for a fantasy thing?
As
Just
crazy as
Live.
possible. I'm gonna start us out, you know, right?
um,
So there I was on the floor. What happened?
What happened? Well, this is a terrible card choice. Can I pick another one? Hold on.
So I was on the floor.
You were on the floor because you had too much beer. Apparently, that's what this card says.
Ooh, that was very
You had
easy.
too much beer. That was non-alcoholic beer. That you didn't know that.
Yeah. They make 0%.
even after downing non-alcoholic beer, somehow you still feel queasy, possibly coming back from the dead,
Oh man.
Ooh.
and rising from that floor with a splitting headache.
So rising from the dead, I kept my wonderful physique, obviously. I still had my butt hair intact after butt surgery.
Hold
That
on.
that is 2 cards that we just drew.
So, and that was good, but once you realized that even though your physique and everything was still intact, you had somehow, in falling on the floor, opened a portal and unleashed a hell demon that will destroy our world.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's something to follow up.
It's a high stakes situation. Good thing you got a javelin here.
Chaplain, we're covered.
We need to do an exorcism.
I don't have any holy water on me.
So now, splitting headache, body weak, butt hair breathing in the wind. It's
With
now
a demon.
It's
Someone
now
from
your
a
own
portal.
task to find a way to defeat this demon with your army of 5th graders who bust down the wall ready for your command.
No.
These 5th graders, we're going to beat the demon together as a group with the power of love.
Oh, that's so nice. And in order to teach them about love, you introduce them to Romance languages, and specifically, you want to teach them French. So you say, "All right, follow me, children!" Ho ho ho! And they follow you, yelling, "Ho ho ho! Oui oui!"
And charging ahead with their French,
Their French love.
their French love. They all charge the demon in a big dog pile, force feeding him croissants. And the demon bursts into flames, burning the books on all of your shelves. So now you are sad and without reading.
Yeah. In that bookshelf as well was some pictures and stuff. Some beautiful remakes of your face. Unfortunately, they're all burned.
Oh goodness!
So sad.
But you know what does survive fire? Bullets.
Insurance claims.
Well, no, because your insurance will just raise your rate. But what they'll tell you is that you should look within the wall and find a collection of boogers that survived the fire. These are boogers that you've been saving up for 10 years
Oh.
to build the world's largest booger, which will help you to fight the demon.
Yes. Demons winning right now. Oh no. What did you draw?
Fromage. I took French.
You did?
I did. I don't remember any of it.
Well, that would have been an interesting segment. French 1, greeting. So
What
amidst
happened
all the
over the
chaos with the
burning?
children and the burning books,
Oh god.
you take your booger collection for your massive booger, and as you try with all your might, you roll it towards this dog pile of fifth graders, and
Oh no.
managed to find out that there was a lemon inside the booger.
There was a lemon
There was a
inside the
lemon
burger?
inside the booger, and it just squeezed just right, spraying lemon juice so you can't even see if you hit them.
Oh my. Suddenly, I start twerking.
Because that is the only way to solve our problems.
The only way to solve the problems in the world.
And when life throws you lemon boogers,
Yep.
you also eat it with a side of Pringles while it's working.
Side of Pringles.
Salty parabolas, if you will.
Parabola.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm enjoying the word. No, we could keep going with this for as long as possible.
Yeah.
But
That's kind of just
that's
highlights
what-
how easy it is to jump into the role playing idea of we just had fifth graders fight a demon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Save the world.
Save the world.
Mhm.
with
Before
boogers
blowing
and
up the
friendship, that-
Before
No!
the moon, that's a space station.
Now, obviously, this is just basic cards, but in reality, D&D is as simple as having a conversation with someone pretending to be someone else. I know in my experience, have had to play about 3 people talking to a group of 5 players, which makes me look schizophrenic when I go back and think about it. But it really does help set a scene.
Speaking of mental health.
You can talk to
Call
people
back.
who aren't there. No, it's fine. Do you want to know what my D&D character is?
Yes.
More than
More than any.
I love the enthusiasm. No, okay, so my favorite D&D character, I have lots, but my favorite is Smaugy. She is a dragonborn bard, obviously. And she plays the bagpipes, but the song she always plays is Freebird because she wants to fly and be with the dragon people. It's really great to pull that out in the middle of a campaign. You're like, you know what? And I have bagpipe Freebird music that I just,
Click it.
yeah.
We need a button for that too.
We do.
Bagpipe
That should be the
Freebird.
theme song of your podcast. Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
I'll have to find something for that.
Yeah.
Oh, your poor dungeon master. You run into the battlefield. Your enemies are unknown to you, but they can hear your wicked riffs from across the
So Patrick tips. We've been talking about D&D. How about we tell the viewers, how do we even start a campaign?
Oh, starting a campaign. I am quite experienced in this as I've started several. How many of them I've actually played is up for debate, but I've started.
fair.
It's surprisingly easy, actually. First, you find people that are interested. For Lewisburg College attendees, as you can see, our reverend here is a nerd. She will very much enjoy.
Don't tell them.
Honey,
Yeah,
you
the
just
past
talked
20
about
minutes doesn't matter.
Hiding it so well.
Yep.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
just masking. There are definitely people you can ask, and you would not even believe who's interested. I have had people as young as 12 say, I want to play. And then they start not wanting to play when they realize there's math involved. But that's irrelevant.
Or next thing you know, they're incorporating Darth Vader and defeating the Wiggles.
Which is also possible.
Yeah.
As long as you have someone who's willing to tell a story and people who are willing to play along, you'll have your game.
Yep.
Which means you just need to find your materials.
Yeah.
And they're all available online or in various bookstores.
Most of them for free as well.
Mhm.
I mean, realistically, all you need, pen and paper. I mean, but yeah, there's a lot of really good resources online of character sheets to help you build your character, put down all the information the correct way.
D&D Beyond is a great resource for
D&D
that.
Beyond, yeah.
Also, if you're interested in writing a story, the 5 Room Dungeon is an excellent resource for
Ooh, yeah.
how to write a
The what?
campaign. The 5 Room Dungeon.
I haven't even heard of that.
It's the greatest thing. So it's basically just a formula for homebrewing your own dungeon. So I did one for my kids because my 9-year-old loves D&D. He's actually really good at it, and actually it helped him with his math as well. So
Interesting.
Educational.
There we go.
so if you're struggling with math, it's a great way to learn, truthfully, because you have to remember formulas and different things. But we wrote a whole campaign about hamsters attacking some kobolds in a small island, and it went like down a deep rabbit hole. But we used the 5 Room Dungeon to create that story to get my kids interested. So
All right. Well, I know that we're gonna be starting a D&D kind of club on campus, so stay tuned for that, guys.
very elite.
Yep. But we're gonna go on to brief intermission. And we'll see you in a minute or two for the last segment. Alrighty, guys, we're here for our last thing.
Hey, this is copyrighted merchandise.
You're right. You're right. Mine isn't. I made this hat.
You did.
I did. I spent.
This is your sign to tune into one with video. It's a really crazy hat.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. Yeah, cool.
It's almost like that's what the podcast is.
Why don't we talk about recommendation corner? I know that there was another game that you were mentioning like all week.
Yeah, I think the rest of the internet has been too.
Yeah.
So this is a game that only makes as much sense to non-gamers if I tell a little story. So
Yeah.
I'll just keep it brief. Way back in 2017, there was a very, very, very small team of developers, literally 3 people.
Wow. So small indie development team.
Oh yeah. They went by Team Cherry, and they released a game called Hollow Knight.
Yes, I'm sure all of the viewers have at least heard the name before.
Hopefully, and if they haven't heard of it, they might have seen the character come
Yeah.
home. So many good cosplayers.
Yeah.
Now, this game started with a tiny budget of $42,000, which is
Oh.
really
That's
small,
very
but
small. For a game.
fantastic for an indie give. The game then went on to sell almost 3 million copies within the first 2 years.
That's a lot.
Yeah,
Wow.
and for good reason. The game itself is like really fun.
Really good. And doesn't it play like a side scroller kind of thing, like 2D or whatever?
It is one of those side to side Metroidvania, so a lot of platforming, a lot
Okay.
of fighting enemies,
2D platform kind of.
Yes.
Thing. Okay. Cool.
and the art style is gorgeous too.
Mhm.
Like it's all, I think, hand drawn.
Really.
Every single asset.
That's incredible, especially nowadays with like AI and stuff. It wasn't back in 2017, but you still had all the other design like
Yeah, there was a
studios and
big
stuff.
period of turning to 3D for
Yeah.
everything, so you just don't see that as much.
No.
And I said amazing art style, but do not let the cute characters fool you. That game is hard.
It's brutal.
Yeah.
There is no forgiveness. You can go 5 minutes to climb up one little hill, and you
And you
jump the
lose all
wrong
of
way, and you fall all the
You
way
just
back down.
lose all of it.
Or you get hit by one enemy, and then you're just dead.
It's
that happens.
it's punishing, but it's still addictive.
Yeah. So why are we bringing up a game from 2017?
Because they did it again. Yeah, the same 3 devs from Team Cherry decided they would make a sequel to Hollow Knight, following the fan favorite character Hornet from the first game. And this game is Hollow Knight Silk Song, a game so popular that upon its release, September 4th, last week, it crashed multiple
That's crazy.
game stores. Like outright, people could not buy the game
Wow.
for hours.
That's crazy.
And with a price tag as low as $20 too, it blows
Wow.
everything out of the market.
Yeah, that's crazy. No wonder it's so popular as well. I know that's on Xbox Game Pass as well. So for the viewers out there that have Xbox and have the Game Pass, completely free to play.
Exactly.
So-
Yeah.
Yep.
And for those who don't have Game Pass, it's available on just about everything else.
Every
PCs, Nintendo Switches, PlayStations, etc.
So they did a full release on everything on
Yeah.
day one.
And broke most of it.
That's
It
crazy.
should be up and running now, but let this be your sign. Hollow Knight Silk Song or Hollow Knight the first game. Try it maybe.
Week.
Question of the week.
We have a good one today, okay? So, question for you. If you have a piece of lasagna and you put another piece of lasagna on it, is it one lasagna or two?
Oh no. Well, I think that depends on the makeup of the lasagna
The
itself.
makeup of the lasagna itself.
Yeah.
For me, I think it would be as long as like the crust on top isn't too much.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Because for a lasagna, you need layers of
Yeah.
noodle, sauce, cheese, and any other meats. If
Yep.
one of those layers isn't there, you still have 2 slices that are just put on top of each other.
No, I think that's a great answer. We agree on it this time.
That was really easy.
It was easy today.
That was a little.
I'll stump you next week.
Ah, you can try.
All right, well, that's all we have for today, folks. Bringing you Spotlight, Stories, and Smiles. We'll see you next week.